Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm going to call the Tuesday, February 4th Londonderry Utilities Committee meeting to order. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming out on this cold and windy evening. Hopefully, we won't have too many more like this until next season. Next on the agenda, we have an opportunity for public comment. Seeing we have nobody from the public visiting us tonight, we will move on. And on to administrative board work, approval of minutes. John got the final minutes out. Everybody, I'm sure, has had a chance to read them. Entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the January meeting.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Martha, second by Mike. All in favor of approving the January minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And they pass unanimously. I should have said before we took a vote that Ann is not here yet. I do expect her, but in the meantime, John, would you vote if we have any other things to vote on? And with that, moving on, discussions with staff. Good evening, Kristen.
Good evening.
I met Kristen today, so that's why that's on my mind. So it's gonna get
Okay,
confusing.
this is not a recent problem in my life, so it's all good. The only thing I have for an update for you today is for the waste oil collection has been suspended till April 5th because lack of volunteers. So the next waste oil collection behind the fire station will take place on April 5th, so there's no March one.
So John Mann and I may take issue with the lack of volunteers since we volunteer for that. But it's too cold. And you get us standing out there for 4 hours, or for a couple of hours on a Saturday morning.
What do you mean? It's not pouring.
Yeah,
I can see how that would be uncomfortable.
and we made a recommendation to the DPW staff that we align the waste oil collection hours or months of operation along with the drop-off center. And I think that's what we're seeing, so.
Well, then there you go.
I have a question. And please don't make any remarks about the age or.
How handsome they are?
Oh, there you
You can say that. That's
This
fine.
might not be the right time, but since you're talking about odd things, disposal of odd things,
Okay.
do we
fire away.
have a once a year throw away big things day with the trash? I've lived places where they once a year you get to throw away couches and stuff.
No.
or-
No, because we do have the drop-off center that's open.
Got it, okay.
And you can take the things there, so
Perfect, okay.
that's the alternative. It's
Perfect. That solves it. Thank you.
You also take it to dairy.
Throw it off.
No, you can bring it to dairy.
Oh,
To the-
really?
You can pay to use the dairy
Yeah.
transfer station. Yeah.
Okay, great.
They'll weigh it and they'll just charge you how much, or by the
perfect.
item.
Other than that, you keep it in your garage
Yeah.
till spring.
I know where your garage is.
My garage is full.
Ray's garage.
Give me the raised garage.
I'll vote
Ray,
for
thank
that.
you for volunteering.
That's what we do.
There's a diesel.
Any other questions for Kirsten? Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Moving on, master plan status, master plan update. Martha, anything?
No, I don't really have anything. We're having a meeting coming up next week. And I have nothing new to add at this time.
Martha, in your opinion, are you making adequate progress or not?
I would
The
say,
committee.
if you wanted my opinion, I would say no. But I would also say that that is one of the items that I intend to bring up at this next meeting, that what I'd like to suggest that we do is that we all take a look at the last master plan and then
have a discussion on what we think the most pressing issues for Londonderry are. It just so happened that we started with housing, and that has gone a very long time. So I want to see how the rest of it's going to move along. And hopefully Sylvia's going to have an outline of chapters for us, too.
Right, I think that's important.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, we did ask for a timeline at the last master plan steering committee meeting, so hopefully we'll have a timeline and start holding stakeholders accountable to meeting the timeline. Okay, we are moving right along, excuse me. Moving into subcommittee discussions, energy. We'll start off with the EECBG grant approval.
I think you probably know more about this than I do. So I'm gonna, how did they say that, the remainder of my time is,
So we'll have to do this as a tag team. I forget the amount of money that we were seeking for that block grant.
well, it was about 68,000, and that was a number that was dictated by the Energy Department as our sort of fair share of the pot of money that was allocated to that program.
So we did get, the town did get notification in January, and I got the notification last week that the grant did get approved. So I don't know what that means for the next steps, but, so that was good work on Mike's part, obviously, to do all the legwork to make that happen, but,
Do we have any idea what we might recommend it be used for?
so I think that had been a discussion last year, Mike?
Yeah, the grant application itself details what we're proposing. Because it's a voucher program, no money actually comes to us. The money goes, the service comes to us. So there will be, and I know you're probably tired of hearing me say this, but there will be a engineering firm tasked with supporting all of the entities that have signed up to do this particular energy planning, energy and efficiency planning voucher program. So they'll get the money and they'll provide us the support. The first bit of support is to more clearly define what the scope of work will be for us for this, in this particular arrangement. There's about I don't know, maybe half page to a page description of what, probably less than that, of what we hope to get out of this. That was in the application, which I think went out to everybody, but it's been a while, so we can send that out again if that would be useful to
That'd be
people.
fun.
Which is the only answer to the question I have right now. I'm a bit confused because Elizabeth McKenna, who is a staffer to Senator Shaheen, was kind enough to query the Department of Energy, since I wasn't getting any answers from them, as to what was going on with our grant. And the answer that I got back from her, and she got back from the DOE, was, well, you haven't submitted all your paperwork, and therefore we're stalled. So I was very surprised to find on January 9th that, in fact, we'd been awarded, and there's a nice signature by Jason on this long term sheet. So I think we are now back on track, and we're just waiting to find out who's going to work with us to execute this and come up with a scope. So that's all that I know.
So I had a question about that. Do we as a town get to pick who we go with, or do they assign somebody?
DOE will contract with what I suspect will be a national engineering firm with offices all over, so they can do this one time.
Okay.
So I thought that was good news, though.
Yeah,
mean, we've
I
been
think
waiting-
so.
We've been waiting, yes.
yeah,
All indications, all appearances are that it was good news.
Right.
So,
I mean, the caveat that we're probably all aware of is, is the new administration going to allow these grants to go forward?
Correct.
The fact that we've got this contract signed, although the piece of paper that I saw only has Jason's signature, it doesn't have a government signature on it yet, which is a little scary. But if we could get that, or if it, maybe Jason has it, and I just, haven't seen it, then I think we're obligated, and if the money is obligated, I'm hoping that the new administration can't claw it back. But I think that all remains to be seen.
Do you mean Justin or Jason?
Yeah, Justin.
Justin, sorry.
Justin Campbell,
Okay.
yeah, I was said this.
Okay, thanks.
I apologize.
That's
That was
okay.
If you're listening, Justin,
Okay, good. And that kind of ties into a conversation Paul Ramsey and I have been having with the town regarding an Eversource energy audit. And Paul, can you give us a little bit of update on where we're at with that discussion?
Sure, I'm working with a Jesse Dustin, who is an energy efficiency consultant with Eversource. They have engaged the firm of GDS Associates. I'm Jeremy Blanchard, Senior Project Manager, will be assigned to the town of Londonderry. If the intent is that this would be of no cost to the town, if we can structure it properly, they would come in and do an energy efficiency study on the selected town buildings that the town will provide us, and give a report to this committee on the opportunities for energy efficiency in those buildings. And then it'd be up to this committee and the town to decide what initiatives they want to take. They would also coordinate with Liberty Utilities automatically. So if there's a gas kind of issue that they could take advantage of, they're aware of that as well. Because some of these projects have rebates that could be attached to them, which could also help the town if we select certain initiatives. They will prioritize the initiatives and in terms of paybacks. This is the fastest payback, the slowest, and so forth and so on. So, time frame, this is one of my goals tonight. Time frame is about 1 to 3 months, and then we'll come back to this committee with a deliverable, which will be the actual report itself from the GDS consultants.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
sufficient?
Yep, perfect. I kind of look at that as a micro.
Pardon?
I kind of look at that at a macro, micro level, and this is like a micro level that we're doing with Eversource, and the macro level would be what we're doing with the block grant, so just.
Yeah, I kind of view it as like, if we have a few opportunities with quick hits and a few
Yep,
town buildings where we could have a pretty good payback, maybe a year or two or whatever, it's something that we should consider and, go from there.
Do we have any idea as to which buildings this committee is particularly interested in?
I'm
doing
giving
energy
the
audit?
Director of Public Works the opportunity to make that recommendation based on historical audits and a whole variety of things. So I am looking for their feedback in terms of prioritizing the buildings and how they want to go about it.
Okay.
yeah, so Ann, with, I'll answer that question my way as well, and that is I'm looking at the 3 fire stations, the police station, town hall, town garage.
That's the list that we can pick from.
Yep, and.
Senior
and
center,
We don't know,
another one.
senior
So
center.
we have 9 buildings.
Nine,
We
there
have
you
9
go.
municipal facilities that we can pick from. I just want to make sure we talk with Dave about, because some of them have been audited more recently than
Yep.
others. Some of them have had significant upgrades more recently.
Yep.
And Dave has that information complete. We talked a little bit about it, but we should, after the deliberate, we should be able to come up with a little bit more solid list.
Yep.
So by the time you're back from vacation.
Yeah, I had an informal discussion with Dave, I ran into him.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly right, what you're saying, so.
Yeah.
We will not be looking at the schools at this point in time. if
So we would
that's-
do
Well, that's what I was wondering about, because you didn't mention the school, so
Yep,
it's
so this
just
is
kind
just
of.
from the town
This is
perspective.
just the town buildings, correct.
Okay,
And we would do a number of town buildings so that when it doesn't cost the town anything, we'll stop there.
Right.
And then report back. If you want to go further, that opportunity is there as well, but there may be a cost to the town for the studies.
now, the schools aren't considered town buildings?
No, they are not.
Different government.
Separate corporation.
separate,
Well, sort of like.
but
You're that
they're
right,
a
actually.
part of the town. I mean, our kids go to the schools. I'm just sort of curious, like,
The
It
town,
doesn't mean you can't do
so,
them in the future, we just have to start somewhere.
so the town and the schools are separate forms of government. The school board has full discretion over the town. The town boards don't have any discretion over the schools. So the school board, if they so choose, can do an audit, but neither utilities committee nor council has any discretion over the schools and their buildings.
so it's a question of sort of going to the school board and saying,
Exactly.
what do you guys think?
Yeah.
Are you all interested in this too?
Yeah, and then they would have to reach out to Eversource on their own and kind of conduct it on their own.
Would they have
Yeah.
to do it on their own, or couldn't they just do it?
They would have to
through
do
us?
it on their own.
My understanding is they would have to do it on their own.
They're a separate customer entirely. So, yeah.
We could talk to them, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Library
it
is
seems like
town.
the money-
We could talk to them.
I would say, let's start,
Let's,
start someplace,
Yeah.
get the experience, see how it comes out.
do a
They-
pilot, sort of.
Based on that, then we can proceed to the next step.
Mr. Chair, I did hear somebody ask if the library was one of those 9 facilities that I was including in the town,
Okay,
because
good.
it is, the library building is a town-owned building.
That's always in my mind, the question mark is, what's with the library? So that's good, that's good. Okay. Any other questions on that for Paul or myself? Moving on to the Energy Master Plan, I have done a little bit more work on that, specifically around residential solar. Just I've been collecting some information from the assessor's office as to how solar arrays are taxed and assessed and taxed in town. And I think we might want to make some recommendations in our master plan on how that could be changed, I think, to provide a little bit more incentive to put some green energy out there with minimal tax impact. But I think it might benefit a few people at this point in time. So still kind of working on the outline for that. The next time we have an energy subcommittee meeting, I'll have something ready for the subcommittee to look at, and then we can move it forward from there. And finally, on community choice power aggregation, there's been really no movement on that. Our partner is still monitoring the rates, and right now, I'm not sure where we're gonna go, but we don't have to make that decision yet, so,
Yeah, rates do not appear to be coming down.
right.
When you say that, you mean even in August?
Even in August.
No, I'm not talking about August, I'm
Oh.
talking about the next time frame, which is
Well-
mid-February. so.
Oh, okay.
And then, we don't know where we're going with tariffs, and I hate to bring up tariffs, but, the tariffs on Canadian energy coming down, I don't know what that's gonna do to commodity prices either. I mean, it'll have some effect on it, who knows what. So, a lot of moving pieces with that whole discussion.
Oh, no, they'll be our 51st date. They're super enthusiastic about that.
In today's power market, 24% of power in New England is imported currently.
From Canada.
Because gas is being used for heating purposes right now, so.
So we continue to monitor that, and, we'll see where it goes. We'll just have a brief update, in future meetings until we're in a position where we have to make another decision. Any other questions in general for the Energy Subcommittee? Moving on to water, Jeff?
We had a nice water committee meeting. We're breaking out to-dos for the water master plan, which we've got, a couple different vectors that we're pursuing. We're also looking to get some more detail on the quality of water, just to see what measurements are pulling through. I have a task on that.
The quality water would be from municipal
Yeah,
drinking water?
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. So that's just a couple phone calls that need to be made on my part. Other people are getting other master plans and getting some more data. So then we'll be able to pull it together and start putting pen to paper. So it's, I suspect we will be done far in advance of the rest of the master plan. There's no reason why we can't get it done with not a lot of work.
Yep.
We are, hopefully by the end of the month, we'll get some more information on the engineering and cost of bringing water to well users. But that's a long-term discussion, and that's, you know, simply looking at the engineering and the cost, not having any policy discussions in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And when some of that data comes in, we'll try to have the meeting in a venue that, you know, everybody in the utility committee can see what's going on and have that discussion. Again, reinforcing as strongly as I can, we are just having engineering discussions. Any policy conversations are at, you know, the town manager and the city council level, and so when/if those conversations go on, that will be out of my hands.
Yep.
So, aside from that, we're having the water committee meeting with second weekend after this meeting, so whatever date that is, I'll have it by the end of the day, end of the meeting tonight. Well, again, like second Saturday after this meeting,
21st?
21st. So 21st.
Sorry,
10 o'clock.
22nd.
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 22nd, 10 o'clock in the Sunnycrest room. So,
I just wanted to add
22nd.
some information that people may know or may not know. The EPA administrator was sworn in. His name is Lee Zeldin, Zeldin, and he's a state senator from New York, from Long Island. He's 45 years old, has a political science degree from SUNY and a law degree from Albany Law School. As far as I can tell, his environmental issues are, he repealed the saltwater fishing license fee in the state. So that is what I've found in terms of his environmental interests so far. So let's hope there are a few more of those interests. He's a pretty young person. He met with the EPA staff today, actually, virtually. So, as you guys probably know, all of the regulations are currently on hold, on stay, which is not unusual from my experience, having gone through Carter to a first Trump administration. It's not unusual for a new administration to sort of put a stay on regulations and policies. We don't know when that stay is going to be, changed or released, but. And as you guys know, there has been a email that went out from the Office of Management budget to 2 million government employees, of which a number of them were EPA employees. And I guess I heard today that 1% of the 2 million across the board have indicated to OMB that they are planning on resigning. They have to send a note back to OMB with the subject line resign. And it's not really resign. They stay on from now until September 30th. They supposedly get paid for that time, but they don't go into the office or do any work. Normally, when there's a buyout with the federal government, and we were offered a buyout in the first 4 years of Trump administration. It was a maximum that you could get was $25,000 if you wanted to leave early. But there was this idea of staying on and not working, brand new, never heard of it. So we'll have to see how and if that actually occurs.
sounds like garden leave.
Sounds like what?
Sounds like garden leave. And financial services, that happens a lot. If you're leaving a company or they buy you out, you can't work for someone else for like 3 to 6 months.
Oh,
And
you
it's
can
different.
work there perfectly.
So they can go get
enthusiastic.
a job for someone else?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
You can go on vacation.
That's a nice
You
deal.
can go visit family. You can do whatever you want to do, but you just don't come into the office and do any work.
I like that job. Can I get one of those?
Yeah, I think that, my perspective is that happens so they avoid a lump sum, big lump sum payment up front.
Yeah.
It
Spread
could be,
out
but
over
that
6
money
months.
still has to go out.
Yeah, if
yeah.
they,
Millions, yeah.
yeah,
I know.
Who knows?
a lot of money.
Someone's doing the math on that, for
Yep.
sure.
I hope.
Yep,
I hope. I don't know.
we won't say who.
Isn't this finance?
Yeah. Yes, EM. Yeah.
So, any update on cable access TV?
I've deferred that to Mr. John.
I did have a discussion with the regional manager from FiOS.
A little bit different, just I'm thinking in terms, we'd had some public service announcements we
Oh,
talked
that,
about
never
doing
mind, yep, you go.
for cable TV.
We have not done any public service announcements.
For what?
Yeah, I was,
Sorry, on the town,
Yes.
yeah, the public access.
Yeah.
Still working on it. I've asked people for ideas on things they'd like to talk about. I haven't had anything, so I might brainstorm, like come up with 50 ideas and let people knock down 45 of them. And I've done that in a lot of situations. I can brainstorm a lot of silly ideas. And it's, I'm not gonna be the one to do 5 or 6 of these, but, if someone wants to take the action to, get smart about a specific topic that means something to them, and, we can do a, sort of a Johnny Carson / TED Talk about stuff that's utility / town related. That would be great. And also, things that are not news stories for the Facebook website, so government, town, and federal and state government data releases to put on the Facebook page. Because if I remember correctly, last time we spoke, we don't want to put like news stories on our Facebook page. So any feedback on that would be great. And I believe myself, Lynn, and Martha can update the Facebook page.
Yep.
So just send it to any or all 3 of us, and someone will get it taken care of. So
So your next subcommittee meeting is in a couple of weeks.
22nd.
Maybe for our March full committee meeting, you'll have some
Correct.
ideas?
correct.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great.
So on the cable access, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just want to follow up on the cable access things, that I do think that we could do some educational type of things that I know that Ann was working on, the PFAS one.
Yep.
And some things like, actually, John has brought up some good ones about taking care of your septic systems and
Yeah, we could
you
do
know,
the septic, we could do the recycling, we could do the cable, the options on, well, I don't know if you want to do the options on cable TV, but we could do the septic, the recycling, the different options on, delivery of
right.
liquid fuel. I think what would be a really interesting one, and this is maybe just me being an engineer, is some discussion on someone who can explain why we don't have natural gas to everybody because the rocks are so prevalent in New Hampshire. At least that's what I've been told. Because that's kind of, maybe it's just because I'm an engineer, but that's kind of interesting to me. But, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that could be discussed. We have a target-rich environment when it comes to cleanliness of water and the distribution of water. Ron probably could give us a dozen off what's going on at the state level and just say, hey, these are the things going on at the state level. We could have one about all these, each one of these energy discussions could be a topic. Sorry, Ray.
I thought you shut that off.
I'm sorry, I failed you. So there's a lot of opportunity, and it's, not to be cliche, but it is kind of fun to be up there and do your little thing. John did it with Ray and I, and I think Mr. Malaguti was up there
Yep.
on the first one. And it's kind of fun, it's you get to talk about something you like to talk about, and if it's something that you're passionate about, it gives you an opportunity to get your voice heard, so.
it's fun until the teleprompter shuts off with all your questions, but yeah, go ahead.
Right.
Yeah, that could be a chore, so.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
so,
And that kind of I apologize to everybody, I skipped over 2025 goals and objectives, but that would be something I'd like to see you know, what each subcommittee can come up with for some public service announcements that we
If-
could put on.
If you want me to be more proactive instead of reactive on that, I can do that. I can be more aggressive, and instead of, I can send an email to everybody and say, hey, don't forget, blah, blah, blah. I expect 5 ideas from everybody, or 10 ideas from everybody, and if we throw away 8 out of 10, assume that's pretty good.
Yep.
And then we can collect everybody's and say, hey, here's, 50 ideas. What do we as a group think of the top 10 ideas? And I think that's, that would give us 10 really good ideas, and then we could do one a month, and then leave one out for August and one out for December or whatever.
Yep.
And if we, the royal we as a group want to push that instead of be responsive, I think that's a great idea. I think this is a really good way to show visibility for the committee, and again, it's fun. And there are things that we as a group, there are people on this group that are incredibly talented that just extemporaneously can talk about various topics that could really be of value to the community, so.
Sure. Yeah, if you would take that
Absolutely.
action, that'd be awesome. Be careful what you volunteer for.
I know. Sorry. All right, I'll push on that.
But I like the idea of, everybody, taking a shot at it, and let's just come up with,
Yeah, how many,
a subset,
we
right?
have enough people here, we could have one person on this group take responsibility for one full topic and have something every month, throughout the year, and then everybody gets a chance to do it. And if someone really, really likes to do it, they can do 2 or 3.
Yep.
So, all right, I'll push on that.
Good, good. Okay, anything else from the water?
Did you have something you want to talk about? Or did you want to defer that?
It escapes me now, so I'll defer that.
It must have been, yeah, I must have forgot. Okay,
If it comes to mind, we'll talk about it during roundtable. How about that?
perfect.
My mind is a wasteland anymore, so. Moving on, sewer solid waste. John?
We had our kickoff meeting for 25, week and a half or so ago. Basically a brainstorm session to see what the sense of the group was in terms of things they'd like to explore and develop. And the emphasis seemed to be on education in the area of recycling, sort of picking up where maybe the old solid waste committee left off on some educational, what goes in the blue can, what goes in the green can kind of stuff. Also some discussions, somebody has already mentioned about septic tank maintenance as a potential topic. DES actually has a pretty good brochure on that, but there are some other things that we can talk about. And since the majority of the town is still, I believe that's correct, the majority of the town is still on septic.
Residential, certainly.
It might be of some relevance. Might be a short PSA topic, as you said. We also talked a lot about food waste. That might be more future think, although there are some initiatives by smaller private companies currently going on in town. There are some folks over at Sunnycrest, for example, that do a lot with in that kind of organization, and there is. I know Janie's is also very active in recycling their food waste. So, so it'd be interesting to explore that and develop it some more. I don't think our primary supplier, Waste Management, is on the horizon to be in the food waste business, at least residentially, in town for a period of time. But you never know. And the fact that we're running out of landfill space and food waste takes up, I think the number I hear is 24% of the landfill space. It's a topic of relevance, not too far in the distant future. So, and we also talked somewhat about clothing waste and some of the options we might have there. I know Joy in particular talked about fast fashion and its contribution to mounds and mounds of clothes in South America on the beaches down there because kids buy things, wear it once, throw it out. And is there some education there? And last year, I don't know about this year, but last year the high school did a clothing swap kind of program, which there was some discussion about perhaps our committee could participate in that with them and make it more than just high school kids, perhaps. You know, I think some grown-ups, guys like me, are very fashionable, and we want to make our stuff
You do look very good with that scarf.
To change colors.
Yes, thank you.
Everybody looks
And I'll be
very
doing confessions later. The waste oil grant was discussed briefly in our meeting, and frankly, that's still under review by the town right now, so we'll see where that goes. They have our proposal, and they just need to come back to us and say, we like this, we don't like that, so that's where we're at. And then we set our schedule for the year, so that's what we got. We will, from now on, by the way, we'll be known as the SWS. Makes it sound like some sort of revolutionary underground organization, so.
Good, thank you very much. Any questions for the Sewer and Solid Waste Committee, Subcommittee? John, now is your chance to shine.
I'm sorry. Good old Fidium, part of their complaints, I hear from people is they sometimes contact you right away, and then you don't hear from them for 2 or 3 weeks. Well, after 2 or 3 weeks, January 28th, they did get back to me. They do offer a public forum where they'll come in and present what they offer and then do a Q&A. Before I do that, I want to read through it, because we have to be very careful. We're not prefacing one cable service over another. If it's an information session, that opens me up to signing everybody up that wants to. And we currently have 29 carriers that could actually through the sky.
Wow.
Right, so let me review it, see what's up from there, and then I'll talk to you guys and make a decision.
Could we do like a career day kind of thing for them and?
A what?
Like a career day kind of thing for them where they could come and,
or public information
Yeah,
Well,
forum
that's what I
kind
would
of
tend
thing.
to do, yeah.
yeah, like they all come at once and then they all,
Could do that too.
yeah,
That's a good idea.
have them all like with booths
Right.
or whatever. I mean, not
But,
booths,
but I did already go through their presentation, and I've got like 40 questions. I mean, they are really, well, I'll just tell the truth. We offer fiber right to your house. Okay. And then after my house, where does it go? Oh, it's completely fiber. No, it's not. It's Comcast. And that's it for now, until you do an overbuild. Have you done an overbuild? Well, in some areas we have. No, have you done an overbuild in Londonderry? So that's where I need to review it more, discuss with you how deep we want to get into it, so.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Good. Any questions for John?
No,
Excellent.
way over my head. We'll talk about.
So I'm gonna go back. I skipped over one probably because I wanted, or subconsciously I wanted to, but we need to talk about 2025 goals and objectives for the subcommittee. And we talked briefly about this last week. We're at a point in time where there's a few things going on, but there's not a lot going on, like we had sometimes last year. So I'm not gonna ask for anything tonight, but I'm gonna use what Jeff had talked about. Send me, 2 or 3 items that you personally want to see happen at this Utilities Committee level. And let's figure out what's out there, what's at the top of everybody's mind, and let's see what we can do to make them happen. One thing I will caution is if you come up with an idea, be prepared to have somebody volunteer to be the champion. That might be someone you talk to ahead of time. It might be yourself. But I find that very few goals get met if there's no champion to take that goal and move it forward. So I know we're all busy, and I'm as guilty as anybody else is procrastinating with my time as well. But it's the only way we're gonna get anything to happen. And Ron, I don't know, if you wanna query your town council compatriots, but certainly if the town council has any thoughts or ideas about what you want this committee to do, we serve at your pleasure. And we certainly wanna make sure we're doing
Absolutely.
what the town wants us to do. And Kirsten, I'll throw that out to you as well for the town hall staff, where do you want to see this committee going? I think we
Lynn, I
have,
know one thing that we had talked about was, just as far as water, this committee presenting like a phase plan, what the city or what the town would like to see happen, like phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as far as once project one is done, where do you want to go at 2, 3, 4? We had talked about that a few years back, and then we kind of talked about it again. We just kind of bounced it around. I know that's one thing that the council would maybe like to see this committee work on is what's next after High Range Road? What's the next thing to try to get? Is there a 15-year plan? Is it 20-year plan? Like the phases that we could go through to just kind of get the town aware of what's next.
Sure.
That's,
Yeah.
you know.
We're working.
And I think
Yeah.
that that's part of the master plan.
Yes,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah, we should have we should have the start of some pretty good data on that.
Yeah.
By the end of this month.
Yeah.
Knock on wood.
I'd echo that from a
Oh.
town side as well. I think that is the work that can be incredibly difficult for staff to kind of carve out the priority to do. And I think that you are all in a unique position to be able to kind of craft that and discuss that and advise on that. So
Yeah.
I would heartily second what Ron just suggested. So,
Okay, great.
Excellent. Very good.
Great. You know, we have some incredible talent on this committee, and I say that, you know, just from the bottom of my heart, and I think we can do some really good work. So that's what I really want to accomplish, you know? I think we can be a real benefit. We have been, and don't let me forget saying that, we have been, but I think we can offer a lot, so I want to do what we can do. So I'll send out a note to everybody just to remind them of my request for a couple of ideas. And, you know, as you're driving to Dunkin' Donuts in the morning, you know, think about it and shoot me off a note. So we are kind of blowing through the agenda tonight, which is not a bad thing. We're into the roundtable discussion. I'm going to start with Ron.
Sure.
Thing, Ron?
Yeah, I got a couple things. So after this meeting, John and I are going to talk, but I have the website for the state. I've gone through it. It's very easy to use. It's very easy to sort everything. You can literally go in to the bills and put in water. You can put in electricity. You can put in sewer. It will tell you every single bill that's coming up. There is so many that I want to talk to John to figure out the best way to communicate it to you guys, because we have so many bills. I don't want to like overwhelm your inbox, you know, so I'm willing to keep you up to date on where we are with these bills, but I just want the best process to get it to you. So I was going to talk to John afterwards to see what the best way is to communicate that to you all. Right now, very busy week this week at the State House with bills. Next week's very busy. We've got session Thursday, our first session of the year, to talk about bills. So there's a lot coming out now, and I told you guys I'd keep you updated, and I just want to work with John to figure out the best way to communicate that to you, because it's just a lot. There's a lot of
Maybe it
information.
should be
Ron also had another idea.
Yeah.
That is, once we get the list,
Yeah.
we could ask people to volunteer. And so instead of that gentleman over there going to every single one of them,
Yeah.
we can divide it up, and then at the next meeting, give a quick report, how it went, questions asked, things like that.
Yeah.
So that way we could, you know, I'll go to 1 or 2 this month, and you go to 1 or 2, and you go, no, we can cover a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I did see the list, and man, it's getting busy right now, so
But
now is the
also,
time.
you must
Yeah.
have you can do an assessment of which bills you think have a chance and which ones really don't have a
Absolutely.
chance in hell of moving
Yeah.
forward. So-
Absolutely.
so
I just want
maybe
the
we
best way to
should get your
communicate that to you guys.
assessment.
You know, but absolutely I can do that. A lot of bills up there right now are you know, not controversial. They're gonna just, you know, come through and they can help.
Right.
With the way the budget is, some things might get cut. So, you know, it's something we want to have people go there and advocate for things if they think it's important in this committee. You know, so.
Thank you.
You know. So.
Great.
We're gonna meet after this just to chat the best way to get it to you guys, because I'm willing to do the work. I just don't know the best way to communicate it to you guys. That's where John comes in.
Excellent.
So.
Thank you both for that.
We had a short discussion, I think, at our last meeting about advocacy, and I think Kirsten had some warnings for us. So, I'm trying to figure out, you know, certainly we want to be involved in the process, and I think we want to support the things that, you know, support our mission. So, it's not clear to me how we how we advocate for or against a bill without getting ourselves in trouble with the,
So I know that Ray, when he goes up, he advocates for himself. He doesn't say he's talking
Right.
for Londonderry. He doesn't say he's talking for the town, or he's just talking for himself.
Right.
So
Right.
I would advocate that it, like, say, for example, you want to go and talk about it for yourself, but
Yeah,
this
for sure.
committee could, you could just speak for yourself, not for anybody else, is what I would think.
But
But
still ask questions that
Yeah.
are relative to us, and then give data points if you need to, but you're advocating for yourself, and then come back and say,
yeah,
they shot me down.
so yeah, I went up there, I testified on this bill, and I did this, and this is the outcome, and. that's
Yeah, I
probably-
would suggest that any recommendation, anything that is purported to be spoken of from a Londonderry perspective would absolutely need to go through council first. So if in Ron's research and looking through Ron's research, you see something that really stands out, can certainly bring it back to Ron to take to council, and he's your best liaison for that, at which point we can facilitate it through legal. But I think that, like Ray does,
Yeah.
like all the time, and going up there and giving your own perspective, you can certainly use the information gathered in this room to relay your own perspective. You can certainly do that. But yeah, if you find some place where you're really, as a committee, are very unified on this year, the idea that you would like to advance a viewpoint, we'd want to bring council into it there, because they're the ultimate arbiter of how the town is represented on the state level.
I can give you a quick example. Last year, Mike and I went to the state, advocated for a bill that was directly going to impact dairy and Londonderry, and we had both agreed to a 15% fee. So that was something specific that the town went and advocated for. That's the only bill that I'm aware of that the town actually went and advocated for. So it's going to be very specific bills, but I would certainly be willing to, if anyone wanted to reach out to me, if there's any, I would help you get involved if you wanted, but I would say personal level.
What do you mean a 15% fee? Did that have to do with the specific piece of legislation that
Yeah,
you're
it had to do with
talking
sewer.
about?
So last year, the town of Derry was willing to accept our sewer, and charge us a 15% fee. And that bill saved the town of Londonderry about $2 million because we didn't have to send our sewage up to Manchester. So now we're sending it to Derry, and they're gonna take that 15% fee and use it for economic development. But we're happy to pay the 15% because it saves us a lot of money.
Yeah.
So,
But I just want to tie off on one thing that Kirsten said
Oh.
too, and I think to you
Yeah.
too, Ron, to a certain degree. And that is if there is something that just stands out,
Yeah.
that we as a committee decide we need to advocate for the town, on the town's behalf, I think we have, I wouldn't do it with, I mean, we would go through the
Yeah.
council, we'd go through the proper channels to make it happen, but I think, if there's something we see, I think we should bring it up.
Yeah.
Raise the flag appropriately, so.
Right. And I think it has far more power if it comes, if it's a town council resolution than, if it's any of us individually.
Right.
So that, supposedly, a lot of politicians in Concord advocate for local control, even though we're not a local control state. But that means something to them. And when the town speaks, I think that means something to them. So, I would encourage us, when if we see something that really is important, that we take
Discuss
the
it.
time to get before the council, maybe draft a resolution for them and get it through legal and then get that up there, whether it's through Ron or some other way.
I mean, I know the person who puts people in public comment on the agenda, so, it's me. So if you want to get on the agenda, that's.
Anything else?
I'm good.
John, I should have started with you, I'm
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
No, that's okay, and I'm fine.
Right?
Did I have my name?
Yes.
Okay, let me say this about that. This is about education for all of us. We can all learn every day. That's why sometimes I go up to Concord and just listen. Okay? Now, I have spoke, and yes, I was up there today on a lot of issues that have to do with water. And I did speak very briefly I only identify myself as myself, a private citizen. And I met a lot of very interesting people up there. One of them was a very young gentleman, probably about, well, I'd say about 22. He's a state rep from Peterborough. And I had a private conversation with him afterwards. And my point is, we can all learn by going up there, if you have the time. Now, I have the time, because I'm retired and I'm not working much except when I'm delivering the mail, but, and so, you know, I understand, everybody is working, you have your own life to live, you don't have time to be running up to Concord. And actually, you don't have to. Because if there's a bill you want to support, you think it's important that you want to support as a private citizen, you can do that remotely. Okay? And so, I can tell you all the bills that, that I sat and listened to up there, but I don't want to take up your time. And on another issue which we were talking about, coming up with ideas, you know, old Ray here's got plenty of ideas, and I'm perfectly willing to share them with anyone, okay? So if you want 5 or 6 ideas, I'll cut them down to 5 or 6 ideas, you know, and so, once again, old Ray here is not the smartest guy in the room here. But we do need to move forward, and we do need to bring some ideas to the master plan committee at some point, to the town council and others, because, you know, otherwise what are we doing here, right? So I think we can, I know I can come up with some ideas that I would like to put forward. Lynn? I'll put them forward to you,
Yep, please do.
and you can take a look, and then we can bring them back and we can discuss it further. But we don't have, we're a group that tosses some things around, and we don't have a lot of power per se. But certainly, we've been given the okay to take the time to come up with some good ideas, and we certainly have the ability to do that. And so, that's all I got to say.
Great. Thank you. Jeff?
No comment, nothing.
Mike?
Bess?
Martha?
I have nothing.
John? Ann?
Well, I was just thinking while we're listening to Ron, maybe we should add a sort of a routine, regular agenda item, which would be kind of a report out from Ron as to what's going on at the State House, and as one item, and then actually, you know, what's the update in the town council?
There goes 2 hours of the meeting.
No, but those are important for us
I'd
to
be
know
willing to do
what's going on, because all of us don't go to each town council meeting, that's for sure. And we're not up at the State House every 15 minutes. So I think it would be really helpful to get that information.
Sure. I'd be happy to do that.
Okay.
If you're happy to do that, I'll add that to administrative board work.
Absolutely.
Good idea, thank you.
Thanks.
And if, actually, if we succeed in coming up with a communication method that brings all this stuff to us, that time that Ron has on our agenda now can be a time to just go into more detail on some particular thing that, well, I noticed this, what does it mean? You know, is that gonna happen? Da-da-da.
Excellent. Paul?
Just a quick question on goals. I'll send you something on ownership, timetable, and a deliverable. Does
Perfect.
that work?
Perfect.
Okay. The other thing is I'm monitoring a couple bills on, that could affect aggregation. And depending where it goes, Ron, I may or may not get back to you on
Sure.
some questions and things like
Yeah,
that. So,
please.
I've reached out to the Office of Consumer Advocate and a few other places. so.
Yeah.
But it's still early on, so,
Yeah.
you know, there's, I'm learning a lot about processing of bills and what it goes through. so.
Ah, it's quite interesting.
Our next state house rep, right?
I'm good.
Joy?
No,
Kirsten? Okay. With that, we move on to public comment. Cross that one off.
Lynn, I'll squeeze this in as
Absolutely.
a next meeting item. At one point, we had talked about getting Dave Woolley to meet with the committee. And I'm wondering if there's been any progress along that line.
So, if we did, I dropped the ball. And what would you like to meet with Dave to go over? I'm sure he would be willing to come in and talk to us.
I'd like to know, what, a summary of what's been done as far as he can tell in terms of energy use, energy efficiency. Does he have, is there a long-term plan that he has? Where can we help? Is he supportive of what we're doing?
Sure. Kirsten, I'll reach out to him. I'll keep you in the loop on the conversation.
Yeah, my
but-
suggestion for that would be probably, that might be something that in May might be a good time for that, just timing wise. It's always unpredictable in the beginning of March and April in terms of snow. The largest snowstorm last year was the first week of April,
Yep.
so, which is also when you meet. But it also, this is totally up to you, but it might be worthwhile to kind of kick off the energy audits and move forward a little bit on them first to see where they stand and then be able to kind of bring that all together. Certainly, but if he wants to come in earlier, that is entirely up to Mr. Wally.
Okay, well, let me reach out to him. Like I said, I'll keep you in the loops, just so you know what's going
Like
on.
to set realistic expectations.
I think it might be almost useful for Paul to get some background from Dave before he negotiates details with Eversource.
So Lynn, Dave, and I did sit down before this energy audit, and Dave did send them a bunch of
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Yeah, so that,
So-
is that what you're referring to?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
that did happen after the
So
last
we've
meeting.
had some stuff happen in the background, and we are trying to get a meeting with Dave to talk about the energy audit, the Eversource energy audit, and he respectfully requested that we put off any meetings until we get into some better weather. He drives a snowplow. He's out there plowing snow with the rest of the guys, so.
Hence the May kind of timeframe. But we did meet with him between the last meeting and this one and did talk about this energy audit. And
Okay, good.
yeah, and he and I spoke about it yesterday. Lynn ran into him yesterday, so he is definitely in the loop on this. Yeah.
All right.
And he's behind it, but I think it'd be nice to have him come in and address the entire committee, so I will take that to heart and see what we can do to have him come in. Yep, okay. And I'm the last one. I have nothing else to discuss this afternoon, this evening, so. Seeing that we have completed the agenda, and it's early, what time is it, 8 o'clock? Any last comments before
Yes.
we break?
Yes, by the way, on the town website, there is a lot of good information, in regards to sewer and waste and so forth. There is a lot of good information if people watch it. Right, Kristen?
Oh,
I'll
Well,
take the
there's
I mean, I can't speak of the sewer and solid waste. The sewer and solid waste folks do an excellent job maintaining their corner of the website. So yes, there is a lot of information. If you just click on the trash and recycling button in the top corner, it comes up with not just the trash and recycling schedule, but all kinds of other resources.
Right.
So,
Yeah, in regards to septic systems and so
Yep.
forth.
Yep.
And
Well, there's even brochures. There's tons of hard copy stuff.
sorry?
I noticed there's lots of brochures, hard copy brochures upstairs.
there's all kinds of brochures that we could share with the general public.
Yeah.
Free.
Can we get PDFs of those?
depends on the age. Easy enough to make one.
There you go.
Okay, seeing no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second, cheerfully.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor of adjournment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you all.
Next meeting?
Oh, next meeting is March 4th. The next meeting will be it'll be before the election, so we will have officer elections for this committee in April. Because our bylaws state that we do it after the town election. Good. Thank you all. Stay warm.
Yes.
You.